Hello, it's Kevin here. For today, we're going to do something, a break from the norm. As you may have seen in IELTS 9 Pro, or if you're watching this on my channel on YouTube, we've been doing IELTS Academic Writing Task 1. The map, process, the graph, the chart, all the data ones, starting from 17 previous papers, Cambridge 17, 16, 15, 14, and we're currently halfway through number 13. Eventually, we're going to work our way down to number 1. But somebody asked, well, me, us, if we could do an essay task. So, we had about 5 essays submitted, and I'm not going to look at all 5 now. Just take a look at one. If I get time in later days, I may do another essay or 2, but for today, we just have 1. So, first things first, disclaimer, fair use, non-profit, etc., blah, blah, blah. Get that out of the way. Got the criteria. I'm going to be referring to this, if need be. Get my pencil out. And okay, we can see that there. And let me see, let me close off some of this other crap. Got files everywhere, get rid of this. I was actually just doing something for my other channel for OET, which is what that is. But anyway, you don't want to see that. What you want to see is this, IELTS. So the topic was a discussion. Main environmental problem of our time, is it species extinction, or are there more important issues? Now, I'm not going to read this out. Can't be asked. You can read it for yourself. This is my sample. So all that you need to do, restate the topic. Some people say, according to some, you can see how I've restated that. Answer the questions. Now, in this essay here, I say I think both of these issues are important and deserve equal attention. So I'm not saying I agree with this, I agree with that. I'm saying, well, I think, yeah, looking at both equally important. So that's my introduction, and you can see the main reason: biodiversity, interdependency. If one species dies, it'll affect the food chain, etc. Okay, so I say, oh, okay, I can see why this is important. However, others would argue that biggest problem is climate change, because this affects sea levels, deforestation, etc., etc. So there's quite a lot of things there. In conclusion, despite some dispute, in my view, both are equally serious. If we lose this, that will cause problems, global warming, equally dire consequences. Yeah, so I say, well, yeah, we need to look at both. Okay, 295 words. Now, the main thing, or perhaps I should say, the first thing, this essay I'm going to take a look at here is only 237 words. Way short, way too short. Let me just check that. Make sure that's correct. 237, right, so it says at least 250. Most good essays are about 300, more or less, 280, 90. Anything less really, and you're not going to be able to properly develop your main ideas. Okay, so first things first, 237. Now, I don't believe they give you an automatic reduction in points. They used to give you a penalty. If you were less than 240, you would automatically lose 1 band for task achievement. I think they don't do that now, but still, if it's too short, you're not properly developing your main ideas. I mean, if we look at the criteria, all right? So, fully developed position directly answers the questions. Ideas are relevant, fully extended, and well supported. So, the ideas that you introduce, you must give reasons and examples. As we can see, how well you support your ideas, all right? So, if they're too general, or if they're too vague, not clear, So if you're only doing 237 words, then obviously your task achievement score, it's going to be limited purely because you've not written enough. Really. Your main ideas are not going to be sufficiently developed because you've only written 237 words. So that's one reason why you need to do at least 250. Anyway, back to the plot. So, while some people believe that nowadays the chief environmental issue is that vegetation and animals vanish. Vegetation and animals vanish. They don't just vanish into thin air, it's extinction. Actually, what I'll do, just to keep this clear, to refer back to this, I'll put it at the top of this one. Let me just put it there, right, so we can keep it in view. Right, is the loss of particular species. So, it's talking about extinction, species death, extinction, right? Is the vegetation and animals... So, a vanish is a verb. We need a noun, extinction. Yeah, and we need a comma. Others are of the opinion that there are superior. Now, it's not superior. How can it be superior? That's not more important. If you think of a superior, inferior. Yeah? Superior, better than something, inferior, worse. So how can it be better? It's more important. It's about importance, not whether it's superior. So you've got to be careful. Right, now, I don't know if it's a lack of vocabulary in this one, but I have seen it in some others. People trying to paraphrase and using a synonym that does not work. It doesn't fit. Maybe because they think that they have to do this. But using words that don't have the same meaning is obviously going to cause you some trouble. I mean, like, higher degrees of inaccuracy in appropriacy. Yeah. Lapses in appropriacy. If it's inappropriate, it's going to be going down, down, down. Yeah. So we need to be careful with the word choice. Does it cause strain? So the words that you've chosen, does it make it difficult for the reader to understand what you're trying to say? So don't use a synonym that doesn't directly fit or is not directly interchangeable. So now, the next thing, and I've posted about this in the group on several occasions. Oops, get rid of that. Right. So this is nonsense. This is a memorized lexical chunk. And I've put some links in the group about why this is not good. Yeah, memorized phrases. Formulaic language. You didn't think of that phrase. You got it from somewhere. Right? I've seen it before 1,000 times. And the links that I posted specifically explain why you shouldn't do this. There are rational arguments on both sides, and it's not a contentious topic. How's it contentious? Which will be... Right, so that is essentially... it's memorized. Well, the whole of the sentences. So which will be discussed, well, yeah, followed by my own take on a matter. You mean by... So what you basically said is, there's two sides to this, which I'm going to talk about and give you my opinion. Well, yeah, because that's what you've been told to do, so why don't you do that? If you look at mine, right, I say, in my view, both are serious and deserve equal attention. So, right, so I'm not saying, oh, there's some arguments, and maybe I'll tell you what they are, if you're lucky. What is it? Right, so, memorized answer, examiners will just, boom, dismiss it. They'll say it's a memorized answer, and even if it were not, it tells me nothing. It's worthless. It's a waste of words. Animal extinction is a cornerstone of environmental problems. Is this phenomenon can be detrimental to the environment? Right. So, plant animals extinction is a cornerstone of animals due to reason that this phenomenon can be detrimental to the environment. Well, that's kind of saying the same thing. So, it's the cornerstone because it's bad. Okay. As an illustration, plants and trees provide the natural defense, okay, air pollution by removing carbon dioxide from the atmosphere. Okay. Oxygen. Now, right. Now, what does this say? Particular species. So it's not all animals, it's not all plants, it's particular species. This is why, as I've said on many videos, you have to interpret what the topic is. I've written and made a video before about the ideas bank, where you should recognize this particular topic, or analysis, how to generate ideas by analysis of the key words. So when it says particular species, what particular species? So it's not all plants. It's not talking about all the trees are becoming extinct, therefore, well, we're going to die because of CO2. That's not what it's talking about. Particular. So such as bees. Bees, apparently, are facing extinction. You know, you've got elephants, rhinoceros, all the endangered species, all these famous exotic kind of creatures, tigers, elephants, giraffes. These are the ones who are in danger. In danger. So that's more. So it's not talking about all species, it's particular species. So you would have to, if you were to write this essay correctly, you would have to give some specific example of a particular species. If you didn't, this essay wouldn't really work. It would be so vague, it would be unusable or worthless. Plants and trees. Right? So, plants and trees are natural defense against air pollution. I can't say it. Oxygen. Plants' loss keeps pollutants airborne. What's that got to do with anything? Natural defense. Well, it removes carbon dioxide and converts it into oxygen. But does it keep pollutants airborne? Pollutants usually usually mean something else. So, okay, that's not bad, but again, you're basically saying that plant animal extinction is a cornerstone of environmental problems due to this reason that it's bad for the environment. So that's kind of saying the same thing, more or less. Example, yeah, that is a valid one, but it's not all plants and trees. It says particular species, certain species, and that's why in my essay I'm talking about biodiversity, such as bees. If a particular species of bees die out, if all the bees die out, or pollination ends, and blah blah blah. Or plants and trees. Okay, alright, so just like that. But then you've got this very short sentence here, which is not a complete sentence. Plants' loss keeps pollutants airborne. Yet. Well, it is no yet. You mean maybe while. Some animal species provide a wide range of services to other plants and animals in our environment. Insects are a foundation of, it's a food chain, right? Of the food chain, because we need an article there. And a whole raft of animals and plants, we rely on insects. So, for example, singbirds feed insects to their offspring. Songbirds, but do we eat? Is that sing? Is that supposed to be song? Songbirds? I'm not quite sure. All birds feed insects to their offspring, but do we eat songbirds? A whole raft of animals and plants we eat. So, do the plants eat insects? So, you know, it's like an animal species. Are we really talking about insects? I mean, insects are not animals. I mean, they're not plants, but we're not animals. So, a wide range of services. So, insects. What insects? What particular insects? I mean, if you were talking about bees, like in my example, that would kind of work. So this is a little bit vague. I'm not quite... I kind of see where it might be going, but it doesn't really work. And the whole raft of animals and plants we eat rely on insects. Insects are a foundation of the food chain. For example, songbirds. So So what's that got? So if you were to say something like, again, what insects? There's millions of species of insects. You can't just say insects. It says particular species. So it's not talking about all plants, all insects. Obviously, if all insects became extinct, then we would be, well, I won't say the word I was intending, but it would not go well because they are at the bottom of the food chain. All the things that we eat, are based on that. So you'd have to explain this, So, for examples, chickens eat insect. Well, chickens don't. They eat kind of corn. But so again, you would have to give me some specifics. I understand what you're trying to say, but it doesn't really work. It's a bit vague. So some species, when you're talking about insects, but what insects? For example, humans actively try to eradicate mosquitoes because they spread disease. So, but that's an insect. But what insects are you talking? So I see where you're going, but it's not really working, is it? There's not enough here. 237 words. You need to be telling me more, developing this. And then you've got a very short paragraph. What is it? 3 sentences for the opposite view. There's more vital issues. Vital issues that of the former view. Energy transition. Transition into what? A quarter of the world's population lacks access to electricity. But what's that got to do with the environment? It's environmental issues, so global warming, deforestation. A quarter of the world's population lacks access to electricity. I'm not sure if that's actually true these days, but how is that an environmental issue? Maybe it's because of poverty. Maybe it's because of infrastructure. Maybe they don't live anywhere where there's electricity. I don't know. But how is that necessarily an environmental issue? And 3 billion people depend on fossil fuels for cooking. But again, what's that to do with the environment? Unless fossil fuels cause pollution or something, but you don't say that. So this paragraph doesn't really work. It's not on topic, is it? At all. It's only partially addressed, incompletely. The development is not always so clear. Some main ideas, it's like a position is discernible, but you've got to read it very carefully to find it. And, so you've got to be very careful here with your ideas. So, this is why 237 words, it's not enough. We need more sentences. We need more. We need you, the author, to explain what do you mean exactly, Okay. So, to sum up, specifically with the latter view, to sum up, the latter view. Now, we don't need to contrast words, although and but. We only need one. I have some sympathy, but, although, I believe. So, too short, too vague, doesn't directly answer the question, very difficult for the reader to try and work out what is going on here. Okay, so I hope that helps. I don't want to be too harsh, but the examiner would not be giving this, and I haven't even looked at grammar and vocab. It's task achievement, task response, really, that's pulling this whole essay down, Anyway, hope that helps. If I get time, I'll take a look at some more essays in the group, and there'll be a new video coming soon for the task 1, and there'll be a new task will be posted. So, hope that helps, and I'll see you soon. Okay.